interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Yo, it's Remember the Show. Slick with the flows, where the sparring can go. Who's gonna be on, man, you never will know. Guess you better tune in, cause we live from Chicago. Belal Muhammad, that's the king of the tweets. Jason Anik looks like Jon, step his hands to his feet. Every Thursday, we gon' give you a treat. It's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat. And retweet, and retweet, and retweet. And retweet, it's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat.
What is up? It is Remember the Show. It is episode 44. I'm Jason Anik. That is Belal Muhammad. So, Bully, no game show tonight, no guests, but a lot of buzz surrounding our host, Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. A lot of stuff going on in the media. I can't wait to talk to you. I'm all fired up. How are you, sir?
I'm very fired up. I couldn't get no guests on the show. I was sitting there like, we can't have no guests today. There's no fun bully around the show today. We're angry bully right now.
No fun bully is just making me laugh, though. I love it. So before you get to... We're going to get to all of your stuff. So before we get to Sean or Neil or whoever else you want to talk about, right? Anyone who tuned into your program last week or tuned into your tremendous work on the desk, I just want to touch on that main event Saturday night, Marina Rodriguez. Dude, I mean, you called it. I think we both were sort of leaning that way, anyone who tuned into the program. And what a great fight for her, and certainly some adversity too. Talk to me about it. Played out how you thought. Great call. Talk to me about how it went down.
Yeah, honestly, it went the way I thought it was going to go. We went 8-1 last week.
Yes.
Yeah, we did good last week. We were on fire. But yeah, the main event was a big one where I was sitting. I got worried for a little bit once she got taken down because Rashad Evans, he's a grappler, and he was sitting there. Nah, I'm telling you, Dern gets her down. Dern's gonna tap her out. And then the second round, he got her down. She got her in the worst positions possible, and I was like, oh crap. And then she just showed how tough she was. She's a beast for that. Like, you could just tell that the keys in that fight were whose weakness was better than the other person's weakness. Marina's weakness was the ground. We know Dern's weakness was stand-up, and we were like, whose weakness is more weak? And Marina showed that she could survive on the ground, and she could show that she's learned since that Esparza fight, and she was able to get up, and she just killed it out there. She looked very good out there.
Love it. And I love Vicks for hot, Mystic Black. There he is.
My brother.
But it's interesting too. So for Dern, I don't think it's, certainly she's working on her striking, and I think that's a work in progress. But for her, I think this will be a good step forward for her. I think this experience for her will be great, fighting a real fighter like that challenged her. And she had her moments too. I still think the future is very bright for the other side too.
Yeah, I know. I was hearing some articles saying, was the Dern hype real? And I'm like, dude, she's a beast. She just went against an amazing striker. I think it was just one of those where, that was her first 5-round fight. She showed that she could go through 5 rounds. She toughed it out. I mean, her stand-up just wasn't there. She didn't have to use her stand-up her last 3 fights. She got 3 quick submission wins. So it's like when you're winning, you don't really think about the stuff that went wrong. Like you're going to the fight.
Good point.
You're winning. You're hot right now. You're like, man, if I get these girls to the ground, I'm going to tap them out. She's sitting there talking about if I get Shevchenko down to the ground, I'm going to tap her out. She was on fire, and it's understandable because it's momentum. She's killing all these girls no matter what. And then you're going against Marina, who got taken down like 20 times against Carla Esparza, and she didn't get up at all. So she probably figured that if I get her down once, it's going to be over. And it's understandable. She's like, people don't understand my stand-up. And we saw kind of with Rousey that what happened with her where, she was doing very good on the mitts, and people were watching her thinking that her stand-up's actually good. I think she had a knockout, and they were like, man, her stand-up's really good. But then when she went against a real stand-up fighter in Holly Holmes, it just showed she couldn't take her down. You get frustrated. You start throwing loopy shots. You get a little bit more tired because you're getting stressed out. You're like, man, I can't get her down. What do I do now? Now I have to stand up, and this ain't my world. I know I'm hitting mitts, but it's a difference when you're hitting mitts and you're getting hit in the face by a real fighter. So I feel like it's just only going to make her better. She's a lot younger than Rousey when Rousey had her big hiccup, and I think it's only going to make her tougher and make her stronger in the long run.
So 8-1 on the Bix, that was Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, you wake up and attend a National Football League game for your Chicago Bears at the Las Vegas Raiders. You got Bruce Buffer, announcing the teams. You're on the field. Tell me about your Sunday, bro.
Man, honestly, it was like the best trip I went to Vegas. I got to Vegas. I got some sparring in with Paulie Paul. Paul's like,
That's right.
Yeah, usually right over there. He's like, you want to go swimming or jogging? And I'm like, all right. So I hit him up this time and I'm like, you want to work out? He's like, yeah, you want to spar? And I'm like, spar? He's like, yeah, I hit pads with Eric earlier today. Shout out to Eric Nixick. And he's like, yeah, I just want to get a little light sparring and see how it feels. And I'm like, all right, if you want to. And I'm sitting there. We went like 5 rounds. And then the first 2 rounds, he shot a takedown on me like 3 times. So I'm like, you became a wrestler now? He's like, dude, yeah, I'm getting better. And I was like, all right, it was exciting. And then, yeah, Sunday was just amazing. We ended up getting to the game. Paul and Eric Nixick came. Eric had a hookup, got us down to the field. So we had the best seats in the house. And then the end zone we were at was where the Bears scored all their touchdowns. And it was crazy how much Bears fans showed up. Like, literally, it wasn't the Raiders Stadium. I felt like it was Soldier Field. It was nuts. People were going crazy. Anytime the offense was at work, the Bears fans would go crazy, yelling. And then you got them putting on the sign on the wall saying, offense at work, please be quiet. And the Bears fans only get louder. Like, yeah. So it was hilarious.
Love it. How was the stadium?
Man, it was sick. It was awesome.
Right?
Like, just looking at it, like, I'm excited that the Bears are moving to Arlington Heights. We're going to get a real stadium now. And it just makes us think what ours is going to look like. It was really nice in there. And then just Bruce Buffer, his announcement, I was like, man.
I mean, being a UFC fighter and you work with him because you're on TV. I mean, I'm sure you've connected with him in a lot of different moments. And that just had to make it, just cool.
It's always cool seeing that. Like, especially even seeing like Megan O'Leary work the football stadium. You're like, oh, I know her.
Right.
You see that on a different sport. So that's cool.
So Bears head football coach is Matt Nagy. Were you talking shit to Matt Nagy on your Instagram? Did I say that?
I hate him. I hate him so much. He sucks so much.
I thought, I love that.
Dude, like, he shouldn't get no credit for anything. Like, dude, like, literally, I hate him. I can't wait till the Bears fire him. That's like, he's on thin ice right now.
Remember the show plug? Did you catch the remember the show plug, Jay?
I did.
First couple guys going through. I mean, the guy's always working. Can you believe it?
I'm trying out here.
I love it.
These big guys. It's great, man. Just seeing how big the linemen were, man, is like, I did not realize how big they were. I'm looking at them like, they're like twice my size. And then Eric Nixick used to play football, and I'm looking at him. He's huge in general. And he was just like, yeah, I used to play strong safety. I'm like, strong safety? I'm thinking that he was like a lineman. It was crazy.
Right. Dude, it's nuts, man. So then they win the football game 20-9, which is just beautiful. I mean, you go there to, I always say when I go watch a Patriots play, it's a business trip. I'm going there to watch them win a football game. Watching them win on the road, nothing like it, man. So, love it.
Yeah, it was great.
And you can only imagine what John Gruden said in the locker room after that, right?
Oh, yeah, you caught Gruden's last game, too.
Yeah, right? I got to see Gruden's last game as an NFL coach.
So you gotta think the fans of this program, and suddenly you've gotten a little bit blurry. Your sound is good, but there we go. You're coming back to life here. So that's all right. It'll figure itself out. So you gotta think doing in New Hampshire. So you gotta think the people watching this program have to be some of your biggest fans. Gotta be, right? So you got to think fans of this program are seeing all the back and forth, whether it's Sean Strickland, whatever it is my man Belal Muhammad's looking for a fight. So just talk to us. Just jump right in. Let's go. Whether it's Magny, whether it's Strickland, talk to me, man. What's going on?
Yeah, dude, I'm sitting here. I see that Luke Rockhold pulls out, and I'm not one of those guys that needs to hate somebody to fight him, but I really hate this guy. This guy, you've seen what he said. He says the dumbest things, and like, I would enjoy fighting a guy like that. And for the people who are saying, oh, he would walk through, I'm like, dude, he used to be 170 pounder. It's not like he's a huge 185 pounder. He has a couple losses at 170. And for me, it's like our styles match up perfectly. Like, it's not a style that I'm worried about or anything like that. He's not a freaking Francis Ngannou. So for all the people the trolls that are like, oh, are you guys crazy? This fight makes no sense at all. It makes a lot of sense. And for me to offer to fight you at your weight class, at your stadium, at MSG, on your card that you're supposed to be at, the biggest card of the world, the biggest stadium in the world, and on a huge card, and for you to say, oh, no, I'm going to sit out, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait for somebody else, I want to fight for the title now. But after his last fight with Uriah Hall, when people would ask him, so what do you want next? I don't really care. I just want to fight. I don't really care about titles or any of this stuff, because he wanted to be the bad boy that he doesn't care about fighting. He wants to kill somebody in the cage. But like I said, it was all talk. When somebody offers to fight you don't want none of these 85ers offered except for my boy Brendan Allen. But I saw that it wasn't getting any steam. So I was like, all right, sorry, Brendan. And now I'm going to have to step in and try to get a fight myself, because I think it would make sense. And for me, I'm always in shape. I'm always ready to fight. And I would love punching that guy in the face. Like, he has that face that I would love to punch in the face and just watch him bleed, honestly.
Well, and honestly, just you're looking for a fight first and foremost, and I always wonder. I mean, look, you are in different divisions, so that's certainly understandable from his standpoint. That if he's climbing the ladder in the middleweight division, so be it. Belal Muhammad, not a middleweight fighter, but that's a big fight for him.
He's not. It doesn't make sense for him. It's a fight. Like, you get a paycheck. We get paid to fight. Like, this is the fight that you've been waiting for. This is the date that you've had on the book. You signed a contract for this date for a Luke Rockhold. He pulled out. Bam. Next guy steps in.
Let's go.
I don't care. I'm ready. I'll fight anybody. I'm Sean Strickland. I'm the beast. I'm the blah, blah, blah.
Well, and as anyone who saw Chael Sonnen today, now you guys have to fight. Right. Now it has to happen. So if you can let us in or not, is it just as simple as he's just not interested, that he just focused on,
Yeah, literally right away when I did it, I messaged my manager, Ali, and I told him, like, yo, let's try to get this fight. And he was just like, oh, I don't think he's going to try it. He's going to take it. He's sitting there. He wants to wait for LA or something stupid like that. But I'm like, all right, whatever. But I'm just going to keep calling it out.
Hey,
but now you see him talking. Oh man, meet me at the Vegas desert. Let's go do this right now. I'm crazy. I'm this. He's that like emo kid that would walk to school with like knives and stuff like that, but then he'll go home and watch Saturday night cartoons. He was just fake. He was one of those kids that would wear makeup, but then he'll go back home and watch freaking play with Barbies and stuff like that. Dude's soft. He's fake. He's trying to play this tough guy role, but he's not tough.
I can't wait to watch you in the octagon again. So let's spin it forward there for a former Remember the Show guest, the 8th ranked UFC welterweight, Neil Magny. So I'll just say that in the NCAA tournament, when they have the brackets out, it's always 8 versus 9. This couldn't make more sense for me. I think there's great upside for both of you. If you and Magny were to face off, I think the winner of this fight, I just think it's tremendous upside for both of you. So what's going on with that smoke?
Dude, that's what happens when he's one of those guys that just stays quiet. Then he try to come in and be like, "Oh, Sean Strickland's right." I'm like, bro, he doesn't get no attention because he's a clown. He doesn't have any personality. He's not creative at all. So then he'll just try to jump on other people's bandwagons when they got something going. So he tried to say something, and I was like, "Oh, I had time today. I'll respond to you, Magny. Freaking, we do have a fight. You don't have an excuse." But the guy will sit there and be like, "Oh, I want to fight. I want to do this. Call your manager. Call your manager. Call your manager." But dude doesn't answer the phone when somebody calls him back. Dude's a clown. He's another one that talking tough for social media, saying, "I'm ready to fight. I've been ready to fight. Let's fight." But literally, I called him out. Gilbert Burns has called him out, and he's not fighting. So he's the common denominator of the person that's actually not fighting. So there has to be a reason why, and he's just probably not answering his phone. Like I said, guys like to talk tough, play tough, but he's not tough.
So at this point, on October 14th, you still think you got a shot to get a fight in before the calendar turns over?
Man, I'm staying ready. I'm being active right now. I'm getting in shape. Like, I'm waiting for that call. I'm hoping to get something in December. They keep telling me I'm going to go in December. So I'm just hoping one of these guys step up and we actually get it.
Well, I know your nickname's Remember the Name, but you're also known as Main Event Muhammad. And I can't help but say, I wanted that Strickland fight maybe close to as badly as you did, to be honest with you. So it's pretty disappointing because I think it makes sense on every level. The reason I even brought up the middleweight is I'm just trying to understand it, because the fight game now more than ever, it's a different beast. The entertainment it's more about the entertainment than ever in my mind.
Exactly. It's all about just fighting. It's like, it doesn't have nothing to do with rankings, ladder, this, and this. There's nobody at your weight class right now above you that all of them are booked. So like for where you're at, it would only make sense to fight Cannonier and Brunson, and both of them are booked, and their fight's not for a while. So, and you're not going to fight for the title that's another while away. So there's really nobody for you to fight. So why not get a paycheck? Like, I don't get why would you not want a paycheck? If I'm an easy fight, you're going to walk through me. You're going to put me 6 feet under, get paid for it. You clown.
Well, for all of us that know how good of a human being you are, it's fascinating to even just to see, because this is, like you'll talk shit for fights here and there, but this is not typical Remember the Name. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, like literally, I have a hatred for this. Like, I don't use the word hate. I don't get riled up at all. Like, I don't curse, but I get it, like when somebody gets me that mad, it just it triggers something else. Like, this guy's talking tough, but this isn't like the Brennan Schaub against Ariel Helwani argument where Brennan Schaub is like, oh, I'll fight you. And Ariel goes, oh, you want to fight me? Blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, you'll beat me up. This isn't that. Like, you walk up to me, you're going to get punched in the face and you're going to be the one going to the hospital. So you might want to get a check for that hospital bill.
And I would assume Colby Covington might be on that short list of Mr. Muhammad's that
he's definitely on that list. He's definitely on that list.
So Masvidal, Leon Edwards, December 11th. Yes. So what is it? Everybody just going to wait? Everybody just going to wait 2 months in the welterweight division for that to play out?
Yeah. Like, it don't make no sense. I don't get what's going on. Like, they all wanted that big money fight against Masvidal.
Mm-hmm.
It got booked. Obviously that one made sense because they had history. They're talking trash, blah, 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 3-piece and a soda. So, all right. So that one made the most sense at anything for Masvidal and Leon. So what happens with the rest of the guys? Are you going to sit there and wait for the title fight? What happens with that? If Kobe wins, then they have a trilogy. Then it's another long wait. Then all these guys are just still sitting on the sidelines, not fighting. I know that Luque and Nate Diaz were talking on Twitter, but UFC is not making that one. So there's obviously something going on over there that's not happening.
I hear it. Well, I like you running your mouth a little bit, to be honest with you, because my guess is it probably crossed Dana White's desk. And with respect to Maynard and Shelby, I think your tweets cross. I think Dana White, that's on his radar, and I think that's a good thing either way. And to me, hey, you beat your next welterweight in line, but who knows if there isn't a fight with you and Strickland, summer 2022, just to get it out of you.
Just to get it. Do it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and these guys, none of them are good at trash talking online. So like when Magny says something stupid and I just like laugh at it, that he's trying, like, you're trying, you're doing a good job, but then I'll just hit him with a 3-piece and a soda online. But
the fact you and Neil Magny going at it, to me, is just like that in and of itself is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you won't be getting another invite on our show.
Right. I know. I love it. Everyone's a former Remember the Show guest. So Chael Sonnen, we got to just talk about Chael a little bit. And I'm not going to get into it is unbelievable where the H comes from in your first name. So anyone who saw Chael Sonnen, Chael did about 5 minutes on our boy Belal Muhammad, strictly on Belal and just his legend. And I want to touch on a couple of things, Chael. So first of all, pronouncing your name, Blahal is what he goes with most of the time. He pulled a Bahal a couple times, and then he went with Muhammad. Right. So for a little stretch in there, he just kept going Muhammad. I'm like, nice, Chael. Just stay with Muhammad. Don't fuck with the first name. But the first name couldn't be simpler, really. But anyway, so Chael, one thing that I hate to bring this up, but I got to bring it up. He's like, I know I'm on an island. I'm the only one that thinks this. But the only negative thing he said about he actually thinks the fight against Damian Maia. He said, I think Damian Maia won that fight. I have to bring that up with you. What? Your fight with Damian Maia. But
literally, like Lewis Taylor. I sent it to him, and then he said the same thing. He's like,
Muhammad has called out Sean Strickland.
Lou's like, man, perfect. You're getting the shine, but what the fudge is he talking about the Damian Maia fight? And I was sending it. Somebody sent it back to me too, where he was just like, when he explained he had an explanation in an old video, and it was like, in wrestling, there's two things: is Belal defending the takedown, or is Maia holding his leg up? And I thought Maia was just holding his leg up, and I was just like. It was one of those things that just get you talking, but I was like, that was like the dumbest explanation ever.
Well, good. All right, so at least you gave me an answer, and he knew he was on an island there, but he was obviously singing your praises with calling out Strickland and being ready to fight, and that you're a licensed mixed martial artist. So anyone who didn't see Chael's 5 minutes on Belal, you got to check it out.
Shout out to Chael.
Exactly. So we got some fights coming up this weekend, so let's roll into the Bix. Mr. Merrow, if you're there, sir. So you're doing TV this week. What? Oh,
I said, where am I going? What do you mean? If you're there, come on.
Well, I know you're not going anywhere. We like to your face. We like to your face a little more. What's that? Watch Tom Brady.
We thought he was watching Tom Brady.
So Belal, you're not doing television this weekend?
No, I was supposed to do it this weekend, but they switched me back last weekend to last week.
This cat's working this TV like every, you know what I mean? Just and correct me if I'm wrong. It's probably more fun now. It's probably more, less nerves, and it's right.
Yeah, it was cool, and it was like awesome. Like the people you get to work with. Like I was working with Rashad Evans, Hall of Famer, and it's like getting it, hearing his mind and stuff like that too. Just his point of view of things, and you're just getting knowledge from a guy like that who's been in the game for so long. Just to be able to talk with him and get ideas off of him, like asking him about my styles against this guy or this guy. And like, oh, yeah, we can do this or that. It's cool. And you get to watch fights with them too. Cause we're sitting there watching the whole main card together, and then his ideas of what this person is doing or what they should be doing. So it was cool working with Rashad.
I love it. And not that he's that old, but I mean, how many years ago was he champ? I mean, it really has been a while.
Yeah.
And he's a great human being too.
Yeah. Such a good dude.
Well, surprised you're not doing TV because you're getting a lot of work there, which we love. So let's get to it. So first one, middleweight division, Julian Marquez, Jordan Wright. So Jordan Wright, 30 years old, 2-1 in the UFC, a lone loss of his career, actually, to a professional career to Joaquin Buckley, November of 2020. Comes back with a first-round knockout over Jamie Pickett, May of this year. He's a pretty significant dog against our boy, former Remember the Show guest, Julian Marquez. Julian Marquez, I love this guy. He's got so much charisma. Hard not to think about James Krause in his corner against Maki Pitolo when he was down. There's a couple fights ago, and just James Krause lighting him up after the second round and him coming out there and choking him out. And then he came back and chokes out Sam Alvey 2 months later. So he's on a hot streak. Performance of the night, fight of the night, bonuses. Who do you have? This is the main event opener. Who do you got in this one?
Man, shout out to James Krause. You saw his post where he was talking about how he did bad cornering. Like you always get the when the corner is good and you get that side of it, but then his last fight, who was it again?
Tim Elliott.
Yeah, he told Tim Elliott, I think you're up 2-0, and like even us in the back, like Rashad was like, I don't think he's up. I think it's 1-1 right now. But like that's like the worst thing you could do is tell your fighter that, and I feel like Tim Elliott really thought that he was up 2-0 because when he got taken down, he was just holding, hugging. And, you could tell he was just stalling it out instead of trying to get back up to his feet. If he thought it was 1-1, 100% he would have got up because when he got up, it was just so easy. And there was really no ground upon it at all. So I think that really cost him right there with Krause. But, he took it on the nose. He said it was my fault. I'm sorry. I apologize. And it takes a lot for a coach to do that because, a lot of coaches have big egos. And they're always like, when we win, it's my game plan. But when we lose, it's you didn't work hard enough. So it was good that he did that. And then shout out to him.
Yep.
But back to this fight, Jordan Wright's, he has a fun style, great knockouts. But Julian Marquez, man, this guy's a dog, especially the last 2 fights or 3 fights. He's looked like a killer, comeback submissions. He's been crazy working with, I think he's been undefeated working with Krause, right? His last 3 fights. I think he was training in Vegas before that. He got hurt and then went over there to work with Krause.
Yep.
And it was funny hearing them. They had like a thing talking about how they used to hate each other.
Really?
Yeah, they had like a little segment where he was like, I used to work with him, then I left to Vegas, and then Krause like, yeah, I hated this guy. I thought he was just fake. I thought he wasn't serious about this, but now I like him and yada yada. So it was cool that the UFC got that point of view of it. But I think Marquez takes this one. I think he's gonna be if he uses grappling a little bit more, even as he has knockout power. But I think if he takes to the ground, it'd be a big win for him off that.
And I think we talk a lot about star power. I think for him having a big moment here, being on the main event, obviously, but I think a big moment here would go a long way for him. He's starting to get a little shine, a little buzz around his name. So
there's not a lot of big names on this card. So to when it's cards like this, if you go out there and show out, people know who you are. So if you go out there, people are going to want to tune into you because I recognize his name. He was on the Dana White Looking for a Fight Commentator series. So and he has that personality. That's a Twitter guy and stuff like that. So he's cool. I like him.
Speaking of personality, Patty the Batty wants on Remember the Show.
Right, dude? I'm trying to get that in. We're getting close there. Jared got mad at me that replied to him.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured. With respect, Flash.
I was like, I didn't know you guys hate each other. I thought we just want to fight him.
Exactly.
He's like, bro, pick a side. I was like, dude, I'm trying to get him on my show.
Yeah, exactly. You're not fighting yet, lad. Come on, Flash. That guy, I mean, come on, you can't. What's not to like about Patty the Batty? What we've seen so far. Come on.
Yeah,
I love it. He says, "What's RTS?" I love it. We'll let you know. Hey, and we'll film early. Okay, I'm sure it's probably 2:30 in the morning for him. We'll film early for you, Patty.
Get Till back on. Won't get a car, maybe.
That'd be a fun one. All right.
And Bisping from somewhere too. Anyway, all right. Heavyweights co-main event. Is this a co-main event? Andre Arlovsky, younger than me, but 42 years old. Carlos Felipe, 16 years younger than Big Andre. So Andre Arlovsky's first fight in the UFC, Belal, I think you were 12 when he first fought in the UFC. So obviously a lot of ups and downs, but he's still in the big show. Still in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Close fight here. Carlos Felipe, I think, has a lot to gain here. He's won 3 straight. Can't ignore that. he's been really active. Good fight here. Who do you got? Big boys.
Yeah, Andrei Arlovski, he's fighting a lot smarter now, where he's more game plan based. I think he's 4-1 out of his last 5. Only lost to Aspinall, who's a freaking killer now, as you can see. But I know Felipe was talking a little trash, saying that Arlovski's done with. I'm gonna walk through him. Yeah, gatekeeper. But I think Arlovski, I think he's just too much of a veteran for a guy like Carlos. Carlos has good boxing, but I think Arlovski's gonna work his takedowns in it the right way. He's been hopping in, hopping out. Very good, really good footwork. As you saw his last fight against Chase Sherman, who's just trying to walk him down. I feel like Carlos has kind of like the same style as Chase Sherman. So I think Arlovski's going to be able to pick him apart from the outside.
Moving on, main event of the evening. So women's featherweight bout. So the number 3 bantamweight, Aspen Ladd, moving up to face Norma Dumont. So it's funny. The card is UFC Fight Night, Ladd versus Dumont. It's like, shouldn't it be Dumont versus Ladd? It's like Ladd misses weight 2 weeks ago at 135, and she's a headline in a main card, but whatever. So, and this is at 45. So yeah, Aspen Ladd versus Scale. You got to think at 45, a little better spot for her. So she missed weight, supposed to fight Macy, right? Macy Chasson 2 weeks ago. So she moves up here. So she's a slight favorite over Dumont. Both people, Kenny Florian picked Dumont, and this dude Nate on their podcast, who was good, both picked Dumont. But she is a slight underdog. So Dumont is one. Well, so
good call.
So what?
He said Jared likes Sean Brady's post when you guys are matched up.
Oh yeah, that's right. So anyway, Aspen Ladd hasn't fought since before COVID, December of 19, which is just nuts. But anyway, who do you like here? Interesting. Dumont's certainly going to be a little bigger, I would think. Ladd's a slight favorite. What do you got?
Yeah, Dumont's very big in person, and she looked like a killer last fight against Felicia Spencer. She picked her apart pretty easily. I mean, I thought that Felicia Spencer had a lot of hype. I didn't think she was really that good. Aspen Ladd has a lot of hype, but she has to get it to the ground. And like you said, I mean, her problems with the scale are kind of annoying because she's had multiple problems. It's not like this is the first one where she said, oh, it's just that time of the month. Like this has happened multiple times already. So you obviously have an issue with your diet or get a nutritionist. Nowadays, there's so many nutritionists you can work with. Like bring them out for a little bit. You don't have to worry about shaking on the scale or almost passing out and dying. Like be smarter with the fighters. It's a write-off. But I like Norma here. I think that she's going to be a little bit too big for Aspen. I don't think Aspen's going to be able to take her down. I think Norma's striking is better. I think she's going to be able to pick her apart from the outside. I think she has a little bit more power too. Norma has pretty decent power. I think we could see a finish here.
So he likes the dog too. All right. So we're done with the Bics. So what do you weigh right now?
Right now, probably like 190.
Okay. So if that fight versus Strickland would have materialized, would you have, would there have been anything? What would the weight have been? What do you think the weight would have been? Would you have cared really what the weight?
I wouldn't have cared. Literally, I trained with a lot of the guys I used to train with were all middleweights. I trained with Gerald Mershart, who's one of the top middleweights right now in the UFC. Mike Biggie Rhodes, who's probably like 230 right now. He tries to say he's losing weight, but Biggie, you're about 230, 250 right now. And they both literally helped me for my Maya fight. Came down and helped me in my Maya fight, and I'm working with Lewis Taylor, who is a middleweight champion. So like the guys I work with are middleweights. So I'm not worried about strength or power or anything like that when it comes to him. And like I said, he's more of a volume striker. And a lot of the times that where he breaks guys is with volume and walking them down. And that's my style. And you're not going to break me at all. So stylistically, that's why I like the fight. I didn't have no issue with the fight. And I worked one of his cards before. So like I've watched tape on him. So I know what type of fighter he is, what type of style he brings.
So for you, so I assume if that fight would have materialized, it would have been at 185. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would have liked that. It would have been easy for me.
Well, yeah. See, and so that's the thing. Obviously the weight cut is non-existent, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. And so, are there real benefits for you? I mean, obviously 170 is the right class for you, but what would the benefits be? I mean, would there really be
the benefit for me? Would be honestly where because I'm always in the gym no matter what. So it's like you don't have to sit there and go through a full camp. And that's when you usually get the bumps and bruises from a camp more than anything, because you're sitting there focusing on that one guy, you're stressing about it, like you're going the extra hard rounds, you're going extra hard sparring rounds to get that conditioning right. So for me, it would just be stress-free. I'll be going in there. Everybody's going to doubt me no matter what. So I got nothing to lose. I go in there, murk this guy, and then it's like it's Madison Square Garden. And your name blows up off of that. So it it was all pluses for me. And when it came to that, like there was nothing to worry about, honestly, on my end.
I agree, but I think there was a lot of pluses that maybe on Strickland's end that maybe weren't clear in his focus, to be honest. But just
honestly, like literally, for a guy like that, you need to stay fighting because when he opens his mouth, nothing but trash comes out. So like you have to stay in the public eye by fighting. Like you're not going to get popular by talking or tweeting or anything like that because you're just an airhead and moron. So like whenever he talks, it just like makes people hate him more. So like people are going to like you by just watching you fight and seeing you more active.
Yeah. I will say, yeah, he's certainly gotten some fans in the octagon. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
Anyway, well,
we can talk about your boy. What do you think about Jon Jones getting kicked out of his gym?
It's interesting. And at first, I guess there was some tweet about there, like he appreciated the other coaches standing by him. So I was wondering if it was just Winklejohn, but then I think it seemed like it was sort of the whole gym.
I think Winklejohn said that the Greg Jackson and the other coaches are going to work with them off of site. Like they're not going to work with them at the gym. I'm sure Jon Jones has his own garage full of stuff, but there's like a little awkwardness, tension with Jon Jones saying, I appreciate the guys that are actually sticking by me. So I don't know if it's one of those when he does come back, will he go back to that gym?
It's so tough to know all the circumstances and all the details, and it's not a simple situation, and even in my conversations with my brother, who, like I said on a previous show, where he has a really good conversation with Jon Jones on the same night.
Oh yeah,
and and just where you're talking about family or whatever it is, and then you just look, he certainly has some troubles, and look, I'm not excusing any of his behavior. It's a complicated situation, and I'm sure Winklejohn has reasons for making his decision.
Well, not to add to the complication, but Jon Jones is still on the roster, and Luis Pena is not. So, like, obviously, there was a lot of different circumstances with that than there is with Jon Jones. So, I mean, one of them being that Jon Jones obviously makes the company a hell of a lot more money. But
but and then the details haven't came out yet fully with what happened with Jon Jones. Pena's details. I think they literally said that he punched a girl and another girl in the face.
Yeah,
and
punched the girl's mom.
Jon Jones,
punched the girl's mom. Like tried to get.
That's just like nuts. And this is like multiple times. I think this is at least twice that this happened to Pena getting arrested within a couple months. But with Jon Jones is like, obviously there was that call, whatever, but the details haven't fully came out yet. And his wife is with him the next day. They were taking pictures. And posted it on Instagram. So like I said, people are trying to jump the gun because of Jon Jones, all the other stuff he did in his history, but you really don't know what happened with that whole thing.
Well, and when you hear Winklejohn talking and he's got 3 daughters and stuff, I can understand you want to be sensitive to both sides of it. And the world we live in is real complicated politically sometimes. And it's like, it's not easy to, Winklejohn probably feels in some respect like obligated to do the right thing, but maybe just as a statement philosophically for his gym. It's not specifically standing by Jon Jones. It's just sort of doing the right thing for his gym, period. Do you know what I mean? And
that's okay. He said that he teaches like women's self-defense classes in the gym and things like that. And how you're going to do that when you have this guy that comes in that's just getting arrested for domestic violence. So it'll be like an awkward situation for him. And I understand that. I'm sure that maybe some people came in there complaining or saying, I want to take my membership out if he's going to be at this gym. I would understand that if it's going to mess up your whole gym format. And if you're somebody that's, when you're coming into New Mexico, you're thinking that's the gym you go to. You go to the Winklejohn, Jackson Winklejohn. So that's one of those gyms. Even if I wasn't even a fighter, I would want to go to that because that's the most popular place just because all the stars that came through there and things like that. And it has a reputation. But if you're having a guy there with a bad reputation that just keeps happening, and then all of his other reputation, it was already bad, but you're thinking that, he did some good things for New Mexico when COVID first hit and things like that and all the riots and things like that. So you thought he turned over a new leash, but this whole situation.
And that's the thing. It's tough, right? We had Walt Harris on the show last week. I think Jon Jones put up 25 large for Walt Harris for the search for his stepdaughter, you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of good in there. And so when you see Jones put out a tweet like that, Winklejohn not supporting him, you know what I mean? I'm sure Winklejohn probably feels like he supported him a lot over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like they stuck by your side for a long time type thing. I think it's more so now that for him, he just needs to get rid of some of his other guys that are around him. Obviously, I think he's more the entourage people that you're keeping around you, the yes men that just want to be in your group, don't care what you're doing. Actually, like those are the guys you need to start changing. Like I said, I think Jared Gordon would be like a perfect guy to have by your side.
Of
Because
course.
he's that guy that'll tell you straight up. He's not there for fame or anything like that. Like, oh, I'm Jon Jones' friend, or taking selfies with him. Like, oh, I'm chilling with Jon Jones. Like Jared would be like, yo, what are you doing? That's just stupid.
Well, and it seems as though Jon Jones has made it pretty clear that, like, well, look, at least he's put out there that he's never said, like, I'm done with alcohol, right? I mean, it's clear that he's sort of admitted, at least publicly, that alcohol is the problem, and he's never sort of taken the stance that he's going to stop doing it. I don't know what happened in the domestic, right? I'm not supporting anything that would have happened in that situation. We just don't know all that. The thing that I struggle with is, like, I'm a fight fan. It's like, I want to watch a different situation, but I want to watch Kyrie Irving play basketball. I want to watch Jon Jones compete for a heavyweight belt. So it's like, I'm a fan. We're not journalists. You know what I mean? It's like, we're fans of the sport. So for me, it's like Jon Jones, I want him not to do anything bad to his wife, and I want to see him fight again. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I want. So, so it can be complicated sometimes, but, Winklejohn, it's interesting. You wonder what he has to gain, right? It's like, what does he have to put in to get paid for Jon Jones, for example? Like, what would that be? What is that like? So he works a long time for free, and then if the fight materializes, he get a big check. Is that?
I'm sure Jon Jones is at the point now where he probably put so much money in there. Maybe he has a percentage in there. Like, I know that, guys like that, when you're making that much money, you invest in certain spots. So maybe, I don't know if it's an investment in the gym or not. Like, I don't know what their structure is over there, but I'm sure, like, he's donated probably half that gym. All that gym is probably from him, like that too. So
yeah,
when you fight out that's when you give your percentage of the money to the gym.
Okay.
But when you're a guy like that making millions, obviously it's a different circumstance.
I get it. You and Lou Taylor, I don't think we're going to have any issues about you guys staying together in the future. You guys going to be good. Well, hopefully next week on the show that we got a fight to talk about, because ultimately it's like, I don't want to wait and let all this stuff shake out. And I know you don't either. So
yeah, for sure. I'm not trying to wait till November, December. Like, December's the perfect date. Like, there's a lot of guys that don't have fights. We book these fights, we get them going, and then a lot of these guys after these fights are going to wait till next year anyway. So let's just get this done with after this year. Get one more in. We're good.
Well, exactly. And Paul Felder doesn't want to do triathlons anymore. He wants to come back and fight. So it's not like
I'm excited to see. I hope he comes back. He keeps telling me that I don't want to be that guy, but I'm like, bro, there's no reason for it. It's not like you're that guy. You're not like, who would Billy choose for a Felder return? Now, that's interesting.
I get a name.
What's your name?
Nate Diaz. See, the best triathlete is in MMA.
Honestly, that would be a great fight.
At 155, though. It's got to be 155.
Yeah, I mean, if Nate would actually go down to 155, but that would be
or 170 title fight. Or not title fight, main event. 5 round on a pay-per-view.
I mean, I know Paul would take that fight in
well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Come back for one more, make a little coin.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big
for him.
fight.
Like, I think he's going to come back for sure. Just seeing how he fight. How he trained, and now he's like back at home hitting pads and stuff like that too. Like, it's an itch. Like, I was just talking to Rashad Evans about it too, and I was like telling him, like, yeah, me and Paul are gonna go train. And he's like, oh, Paul's training again. I was like, yeah, just right now he wants to light spar. He's like, yeah, he ain't never gonna lose that itch. I said, really? He's like, yeah, I still got it too. And it's crazy how lighter these guys are after they fight. When you're fighting, and in between fights you get huge. You look at Paddy Pimblett, and he's like 200 pounds right now, but like,
right.
Paul Felder's walking around at 170. Rashad Evans walking around at like 185. He's like, yeah, this is the lightest I've been in. This is the best I've felt since my fighting. So it's crazy how it works out like that.
Is Felder's walking around 170? He's that high? He looks low. He looks even lower.
He's like, I mean, there was a point where he was like 165 when he was fully doing it. He said now he's eating a little bit more. He just started lifting again. So I think that
he's fighting.
Yeah, but when he was actually fighting, he was walking around at 190. Like, I literally. He'll come down to the room sport. I'm looking at him like, what the heck? How do you make the weight? And he's sitting there counting 10 blueberries in his hand. Like, oh yeah, this is my snack. I was like, 10 blueberries? That's your snack? All right.
I love it. But you guys always talk about the cardio, and my guess would be and he put some on Instagram that he's in the best cardio shape of his life, right? And so that feeling, right? You always talk about that feeling. If you know your cardio is good, you're not worried about anything else. So he probably has a lot of confidence given how his lungs feel.
Yeah, and especially, his last fight, he looked like he's a lot faster for some reason. I mean, not for some reason, but like I feel like with all that, with less muscle on him and the shoulder and stuff, he feels a lot faster. But coming off that question, I think that a rematch, honestly, with Hooker, if Hooker loses this next fight, will be a fun one too, because that was a great fight. Both of them are great bangs. There we go, Felder against Hooker. They're both great fighters, and I don't think either one of them were really. We saw Hooker his last fight go for a lot of takedowns, but I think with Paul, that'll be a great stand-up war. Even Ferguson will be a fun one. I don't know what's going on with Ferguson.
See, but that's the thing about Felder, and I don't know what his ranking was when he left, but it doesn't matter if you come back for 1, 2, 3, 4. Bottom line is your first fight. Look at the guys we're talking about, top 10, huge names, and Paul's a big name. It's like why not? And look, I know he's doing well. He's got a lot of work, but he's acting and doing anything. But what's a triathlon pay? You know what I mean?
Right? Get off the bike, Paul. Let's get your fighting. Get back at the cage.
Let's
go.
The
guy Peloton.
We'll let you keep the harp on.
He's on some Ibo. What does he play with? What's the Zizwi or something?
Oh, Zwift.
Yeah. Why is it?
Shout out to Zwift. If you want to sponsor the show, Zwift, hit us up. Cody, we're trying to get sponsors here.
I don't know. So I'm saying, like, Paul can be a Peloton coach for MMA people and then fight. Like,
dude. And literally, I think that's more so where the game's changing to. I think a lot of guys now are starting to change their strength conditioning programming until type of endurance training. They see how it's working for guys like Nate Diaz. Nick have been doing it for years, but seeing how good Paul looked his last fight on 5 days' notice, he went there 5 rounds with RDA and got taken down a lot, but kept getting up, kept swinging punches at him, and that was when he wasn't training at all. So just seeing how good his cardio was with that, and I know a lot of guys now are swimming more and doing these things more, and it helps your body a lot better when you're not just sitting there trying to lift up heavy weights or get slammed 20 times on your head or spar super hard rounds. Like, the game's changing. It's all about longevity, and I think that's what's going to help Paul and other fighters.
Well, and see, look no further than Tom Brady and the pliability. There's something really to that. Like, I've been watching him for years, and dude doesn't get hurt. And there's I'll probably get hurt. He's playing right now, but but there's a lot, and there are times where he'll go down and take a sack to protect himself. I know it's a different sport, but his joints and just the lengthening of his joints and just I think there's a lot to that. And the cardio
I read
stuff.
That book, that TV12 book, and I was sitting there like, I want to go to one of their gyms type thing. I know they have a couple of big gyms like that just to learn from them, because
like you said, to Boston,
right? Oh, it's in Boston.
It was the main one's in Foxborough, right by Foxborough Stadium, and then I guess there's one in Tampa.
They got any Groupons to get in or no?
We got you, bully. We got you. You got John some Jordan 3. I'm trying to get those Jordan 3s from. I went into his house the other day. I'm like, what do you want for those Jordans? Like, that's fine. They're fire. So Cody, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm good, bro.
You good?
What? Unless we're talking, bully doesn't like baseball.
Shout out to Ian Parker. Ian Parker got all of his picks right last week. He went 8, and he picked the way all the fights were going to end too. Like, he picked the decisions. I messaged him. I'm like, bro, I went 8-1. He's like, yeah, but did you pick the way they were going to finish? I was like, what? He's like, yeah, that's what I get paid for. I was like, all right.
I love it.
Yeah,
did he really? That's good.
Yeah,
Where
now
on
that's what he gets paid for. You're welcome, Ian Parker.
Yeah, exactly.
But so Fury Wilder.
Oh,
that's the only thing we didn't talk about.
I am so mad that I did not get to go to that fight. Rashad Evans got like a last second ticket.
Really?
And I was like, bro, let me go with you. He's like, oh, I got a lucky ticket. And then I went to help my boy Christian Rodriguez, who fought on the Contender Series. Shout out to him. He won in the main event. So I went to help him. And then, guys cutting weight, and we went to Walmart. So he's sitting there walking around Walmart shopping with his eyes, and I'm watching my brother FaceTime me, and I'm watching the Fury fight on my phone through FaceTime the whole time. Yeah, and I was sitting in the car, and I was realizing it's been like 45 minutes, and I'm like, dude, this guy's still in Walmart. So I called him, like, what the heck are you doing? Let's get out. But man, that fight was sick. Honestly, one of the best boxing fights I've ever seen. Did you watch it?
I didn't. If you want to know the truth,
come on, bro.
Well, I don't really have a great excuse. I wish I had. I definitely watched some of the highlights. John was in transit, so he saw bits and pieces. He was flying.
Yeah, I was at a wedding, and at the after party there was like a projector set up, and I just kind of like moseyed on over and went to beep site and watched it on the projector for free after my sister's wedding.
Oh,
So-
that's sick.
So what
Yeah,
is
that
your
was-
excuse, Jay?
Dude, that was
I don't, look, I don't have a great excuse. John used to cover boxing back in the day, and I never liked boxing like I like MMA. But don't get me wrong, I'm sure I would have loved it. But if you're trying to get me to sit down at 7 p.m. and watch a big undercard and watch it's just not. I don't know what else to tell you. I love football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and mixed martial arts. I'm not a huge boxing fan. Will I go back and watch it? Yeah. Do I wish I had watched it? Yeah. But I'm just being honest and true to who I am. Boxing not much on my radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're
but
more
man,
like
when it's a heavyweight fight like that,
I
all
know.
the trash talk, the build up, the trilogy part of it, man, it was good. It was worth it. And like I would say, I would literally go back and rewatch it. And I watched it twice already. I watched it as I was waiting at the airport as trash Southwest Airlines was delayed for like 3 hours. So I'm sitting there watching it, and I didn't even care. I put it on loud on my phone. I didn't put my headphones on. I don't want to waste the battery.
So you actually got to watch it back and
Yeah.
really watch it. Okay. So because
Yeah,
I
it was cool.
intend
It's cool when you see like the details of things the second time you're watching it, and like how good Fury moves and just how powerful Wilder is. You know, he came out. A lot of people were saying the first fight he didn't jab, all he does is throw power punches, but this fight he came out hard jabbing, and man, just that one punch power is just crazy. How it just looks like he just taps him. And Fury fell down twice in one round, and it was just cool where you're thinking that, oh, that's kind of like the Mackenzie Dern against Marina Rodriguez. You're like, oh, it's about to be her turn now. She's about to win it. And
Right.
you're jumping up. And same thing with that fight. We're like, oh, he got him now. 2 times in one round. It's over. All I need is one punch, one little touch.
Well, and that's the thing. It's the back and forth that really makes it exciting. And, you know, whether Volkanovski or Ortega, I mean, that the fact that either guy, and then Maurice Merab on the same night, you know, it just the fact when there are opportunities for both guys to really do things, that's when it really elevates. That's those fight of the nights in the UFC where just, you know,
Yeah.
when it's both guys, it's just unbelievable. But I will watch it. And no disrespect to boxing. I ain't going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we saw when you weren't that excited when he brought it up. I was like, oh, he didn't watch it for sure. Because you know, when you're sitting there like, oh, let's talk about it.
Well, and you could be sure seeing all the stuff on social media, it's like, you know, how could I not? But you know, I'm a working man. Unlike Cody, you're a working man too. Unlike these, you know, Ultimate Fighting
I work
Championship.
hard for a living. I
So
work hard for a living.
I think so. It's October 14th. So I'm hoping 2 weeks from tonight on October 28th. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to announce a fight. And if you want to announce it on Remember the Show, that's fine. It's the Belal Muhammad show. You can announce it then. But let's hope something creeps through because you know, let's get it going.
For sure, man. I'm hoping we'll get something. So I feel good about it. I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna throw it into the air right now. We're gonna get a fight before the end of this year.
Yeah, it's going to be all love, no more hate. It's going to happen. So
Yeah, I don't know. I still hate Strickland.
have a good night, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday.
Peace.